All right, word.
Okay.
We're going to talk to each other. We're going to talk to the camera.
Okay.
And we're going to do our thing. And welcome to the very first episode of Mind the Morning. Woo. I'm here with my dearest little snuggle bunny, Alex Ennes.
I love that title.
Another title that I've come up with for you is Expert on Sinning.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that title?
I love it.
Alex actually has a podcast called Deadly. She interviews experts and chats about each of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Alex, can you give us a rundown on what each of the 7 deadly sins are?
So you have pride, which is like typically the first sin. Pride is like too much love for yourself, which controversial in like modern day, because I think that pride is actually one of the best sins.
We kind of stand that like, I'm a bad bitch, I love myself moment right now.
You have envy. And envy is, okay, so envy is actually really interesting. I had lived my whole life thinking that envy was the same thing as jealousy. It's not. Just actively wanting harm to come to other people.
Ooh. That sounds cruel AF.
It is. And then you have wrath, which is pretty straightforward. It's...
That's wrath.
That's wrath.
Find it.
There's our definition. Avarice, which is greed. Pretty ugly, just an excessive love of money. And then you have sloth, which is not enough love of anything. So the idea is that you don't love anything enough to like kind of get up and go do it. You don't have enough motivation to do anything, so it results in kind of like laziness. So sloth is not enough love. And then you have gluttony, which is excessive love. Again, this time it's for more kind of bodily things like food and drink. Gluttony came about because after the Black Death ended, I think sometime around 1350, like a third of England's population died off. And so after that huge die-off happened, there were tons of jobs at higher wages. So all of a sudden, people had this expendable income. And they didn't know what to do with it. And a lot of people decided to go to the alehouse and spend their money on extra food and drink. And that's why like, gluttony kind of formally arose as a sin. Lust is last, and that's excessive, like, sexual desire.
Yeah, and lust wasn't that your first episode?
Yes, my first episode was Lust with Genevieve Amaral, who is a scholar in, like, French literature, also just a generally cool person.
Yeah, I mean, all of the guests on this podcast are super interesting. You've got to check it out. Definitely click that link in the description box and listen to Deadly.
Yeah.
Super great.
And remember, keep sinning.
Keep sinning, y'all. We want to talk about the holiday season and the 7 deadly sins.
I was going to say, which one feels most applicable to you?
Like wrath. You know, you're going home to see family members. Maybe some of them have different views than you. Maybe some uncomfortable dinner table conversations might start to happen.
Sometimes you might not even clash openly. It might be all passive aggression.
Ooh.
Can you pass the potatoes?
Blip. It's all in the body language. Okay, so the holiday season, gluttony.
How would you avoid that during the holidays? I think just listening to your body.
Totally. That the food's not going anywhere. It's going to be there all night. Although,
Is it though? My family eats, like, if you don't eat quick, you don't eat.
That can happen. Once those words came out of my mouth, I was like, wait. Because...
somebody's going to take all the stuffing. Brian's going to take all the stuffing.
So let's, like, leave the family parties behind, because this, like, doesn't relate to that at all.
I'm ready.
Let's talk about lust. It's like getting cold. It's like kind of cuffing season. Everybody's like, ooh, I want somebody to like snuggle up with. Like, Honestly, get yourself a stuffed animal and like get over it. Because you did not want to like get into a relationship this holiday season just because you were like looking for a snuggle buddy. How about pride?
That's actually the first one that I thought of. So I think that especially when you come home from college, or come home from anywhere, there's some pressure to do some bragging about yourself. There's some pressure to show people that you have been living a life worth living. And one of the types of pride is pride in one's own children's accomplishments. Yeah, and so I think that parents around
and that's
holidays,
supposed to be a sin?
That absolutely is a sin, yeah.
I don't buy it.
Well, I mean, I don't buy any of the sins.
Right. Like saying, like, live your life, like, do whatever you want. That's really interesting. That's the podcast. That's the moral of this this episode.
It's just truly
do whatever you want. Like everything you do is gonna be a sin to somebody. Wait, but that's so true. Like somebody's gonna have a problem with anything and everything that you do.
Yeah.
So, like, just, like, go off.
We don't, like, go off.
Yeah. Just, like, make sure you're not hurting anyone or yourself.
Okay. Yes.
You know?
So that, and I think that's a great way to look at all of the sins. Actually,
I think so too.
I recently talked about that in the Pride episode. That hasn't come out yet. But I think about Pride, right? Pride is relatively healthy to have right now. We are walking this weird cultural line where everybody's supposed to be super prideful of themselves. I mean, think about social media, right? Like, everybody is supposed to be the best and doing the best and living the best life and being the prettiest and having the most photo ops.
But you're also expected to be this, like, just right amount of self-deprecating.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
Which is confusing.
And in real life, like, most people's lives don't look the way that they do on Instagram.
I don't know.
So
I use Visco. Come on.
I think that, good grief.
The apartment next door to me is being demolished. So you probably hear a lot of clanging and banging.
Another way to kind of just govern your life over the holidays in relation to the sins is to go by the harm metric. Is it harming you? Is it harming others? If the answer to both of those things is no, like, you're golden. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're harming others, like, maybe, like, take a step back, check in with yourself and be like, how can I continue my actions in a way that isn't harmful to other people in my life? Because you will probably only end up regretting that unless you're intentionally trying to be harmful, which would fall under one of the sins.
Yeah, then you're like,
would definitely fall under
a
any.
sociopath, and, like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, right. Or if you're harming yourself, like, you have to be honest about that too. And that, like, is where the lines blur, right? It's usually pretty easy to tell when you're bringing harm to other people because other people react. And when everything is happening introspectively, you have to gauge your own reactions, which can be hard because how are you supposed to pass judgment on something that you're, like, experiencing? But I don't know.
Self-reflection really rocks.
Yeah.
Self-reflection is your best friend.
Yeah.
Alex, I think we've got it on lock.
Yeah, me too.
I think we've kind of got it all figured out.
Yeah. I sure hope so.
Thank you for being my sinning expert.
Of course.
My cute little sinner. Oh,
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoyed waking up with us.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed my coffee.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Mind the Morning. Let us know if you have any tips for how to navigate this holiday season.
We'll need them.
Yeah. Check out Alex's podcast, Deadly. It's on SoundCloud. It's on Apple Podcasts. Listen to it. It's super fun. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Until next time.
Oh, lust is last.
We love alliteration. She's a poet, too.
It's true.